The unbelievable might be happening as the Wednesday Night Wars might come to an abrupt conclusion before the end of the year. This is the Rantin Review. What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Rantin Review. I'm Rantin, formerly Rantin, 30-plus year fan of pro wrestling and sports entertainment, which just means I've been watching it for way too long. And this is an infrequent, every week news report just covering the big things in sports entertainment and pro wrestling, and something fairly big that may go under the radar to a lot of wrestling fans. Something fairly large broke. I think some of the other YouTube channels are going to pick up on this today, but NBC has announced that its NBC Sports Network is going to be shutting down by the end of the year. Now, why is this important for wrestling? Well, I think it's also really important for Triple H, Paul Levesque, and Vince McMahon, as NBC Universal, which owns NBC Sports Network, also owns the USA Network. Well, all the sports programs that were on the NBC Sports Network are now going to be moved over officially to the USA Network, and some of those sports, including NASCAR, operate on Wednesdays. Therefore, it is highly likely, or probable I should say, not likely, it is highly probable that NXT might not be on Wednesday nights anymore. And here's where the ratings have finally come in. After years and years of people saying the ratings matter, I was one of the people to say the ratings didn't matter, because as long as Vince is still getting those TV deals and they're paying him millions of dollars to carry WWE product, it didn't really matter unless something out of sorts happened, and this would be something out of sorts. The NBC Sports Network, like a lot of streaming services, suffered from a little bit of congestion in the marketplace for streaming services anyway. They weren't making as much revenue as they had projected on that service. So again, they're shutting it down and just putting it on television, which is a smart thing, especially for stuff like NASCAR, which I hate to tell you guys, you know, some people like to make fun of the South, but NASCAR is still huge, and it's a lot bigger than the WWE as far as ratings are concerned. And you also have to consider that NBC Universal is going to be spending a lot of money promoting this move over the next 6 to 12 months as they transition from their NBC Sports Network streaming service over to the USA Network. And again, the big thing for the wrestling fans and for WWE in particular is that NXT is on Wednesday nights, and a lot of NASCAR and some of the other sports programs they have on that streaming platform typically air on Wednesdays. However, if you're Tony Khan and the rest of the people, Cody Rhodes, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega over at All Elite Wrestling, you must be looking forward to this, because if there's no NXT on Wednesday night, you don't have wrestling opposition, and then the wrestling fans who are starving to see wrestling shows on Wednesdays, you're going to have no competition siphoning off of your audience. A lot of people have kind of poo-pooed AEW's ratings. AEW, even against NXT on some weeks, has scored just under 1 million viewers, which in this day and age, you know, with WWE's Raw and SmackDown shows getting between 1.5 million and 2 million viewers, AEW hasn't been far off, and that was with NXT kind of taking chunks of their audience with them and not allowing the wrestling audience to watch one show. Now, with there possibly not being NXT at the same time slot on Wednesday nights, it does open up AEW Dynamite to grow and to have their growth retarded by NXT being on at the same time. And the numbers bore this out too. If you look at the numbers when NXT was not running at 8 o'clock on Wednesday nights against AEW Dynamite's ratings have typically gone up, and not gone up by a little, gone up by a lot. I think there were 1 or 2 occasions when it didn't. But there were other circumstances because we've been through a pandemic and elections last year. That's a whole other story. But typically, if AEW Dynamite is left to its own devices, it can hit 1 million and over. And that is a huge thing because, again, like I said, Raw and SmackDown are not that much above 1 million viewers these days. So if you're getting into there, you get into that competitive comparison thing, you know, if AEW can continue to produce better shows, especially as this year goes on, and we do expect at some point during 2021 that they're going to go back out on the road with Dynamite and be able to film in front of live crowds, and then you're going to have that live crowd excitement, and you're going to have a lot of AEW fans really getting behind it. it could be a game changer. If that happens and the news gets out that, hey, AEW is growing, come on out and, help us, we're getting bigger, we're getting to be number one in the ratings. If they get that close, if they wind up getting to like 1.2, 1.3 million and Raw and SmackDown are still doing about 1.5 to 2.2 million, there's going to be a push, a real strong push, if they're smart, from AEW to try to get that number one spot. And then we get into an actual real ratings war, because I kind of consider the Wednesday Night Wars kind of a skirmish in preparation for the real thing. And I think if all things go the way that it looks like they're going, we might be in for an actual real ratings war come the end of 2021. But again, this is all speculation, so take it with a grain of salt. But just the fact that NBC Universal is going to be moving those sports like NASCAR and the other sports on their streaming platform over to the USA Network, given the fact that NXT hasn't had the greatest ratings, they've been losing consistently to AEW Dynamite, except for a handful of weeks here and there. It's very unlikely that if you can get 3 million people to watch NASCAR on Wednesday night, that you're going to keep the NXT, a third wrestling show that's underperforming about 600 to 700,000 viewers a week, you're going to put NASCAR on. So I don't know how this is going to affect everything. We're going to have to wait to see. This is a developing story that's going to go on throughout the rest of the year, but it could be the most significant story as far as the ratings wars are concerned in sports entertainment and pro wrestling this year. But I want to know what you guys think about this. Do you think that NBC Universal will basically give NXT the boot? Will they be back on the network, or will NXT wind up being on a different night, maybe a Tuesday or a Thursday? Maybe a Saturday night. Who knows? Where do you think NXT is going to land if NBC Universal decides to move them or cancel the show altogether? Remember that NXT TV deal was only, I believe, for 2 years, and we might be coming up on that in 2021. So I think it was around August or September. So that TV deal for 2 years might be coming up soon. I'm going to have to check my sources on that to make sure that that's a 2-year deal. But what do you think about that? Do you think AEW is going to benefit from this? How high do you think AEW's ratings would go up if they were unopposed, period, by any other wrestling show on Wednesday nights? Let your voice be heard in the comment box below. Until then, again, thank you guys for checking out my channel, checking out the videos. If you want some free stuff, I got free goodies down for you in the description box. You got free stocks, you got free Audible links, and all kinds of goodies down there. And definitely check out my Patreon page, www.patreon.com/WrestlingRantin with 3 S's, to get some exclusive content from my channel and from all the other stuff that I review on this channel. I'll see you guys soon for more news, rumors, reviews, and reactions here on the Rantin Review. Have a good day.